God is not happy, and the Lord is saying judgment is gonna come to the nation of South Africa, and judgment is gonna come to what? To the government as well. ANC, you need to pray. You need to understand that this nation was prayed for by our forefathers. This nation, South Africa, is a nation that is covered by the pillars of prayer. People who prayed for the nation of South Africa to be what it is today. They are all late, but this is not the time for you to destroy the nation. There's an African proverb that says, a man that plants a tree is a man that is not gonna enjoy the shade of the tree when the years goes, right? In other words, people like Nelson Mandela, they planted trees, around South Africa, but they didn't enjoy the goodness of those trees. So I'm here to warn all the leaders of South Africa, especially the president. We need to pray for you. We need to pray for you, because also I'm seeing an attack that is going to come to the nation of South Africa. I'm seeing war. I prophesied the other time, I think this was last last year. I made a post on Facebook. The Lord showed me war that is going to take place in South Africa. I saw a South African plane, and I saw a plane of United States sort of like attacking each other. I was in the school and I saw this flights attacking each other in the realms of the spirit. If we are not going to pray and bring counsel in our nation of South Africa, South Africa is gonna suffer. South Africa is gonna lose more money. South Africa, the rands will lose its.
We are now experiencing the repercussions of Donald Trump adopting the worldview of Elon Musk. On Sunday, Trump threatened to sanction South Africa, vowing to cut all funding over what he called a human rights violation. That so-called violation seems to be about a new law in South Africa that gives the government powers, in some instances, to expropriate land from people who accumulated it during apartheid to the detriment of indigenous South Africans. The law aims to address some of the wrongs of South Africa's racist apartheid era. But Musk has cast the law as a threat to South Africa's white minority. The billionaire, who grew up as a privileged and wealthy white South African during apartheid, often accuses the post-apartheid government of anti-white racism. His false ethno-nationalist claims are likely why Trump is promising to punish South Africa over the land law. In fact, the official ex-Twitter page of the Presidency of the Republic of South Africa announced that President Cyril Ramaphosa even spoke to Musk this week on, quote, issues of misinformation and distortions about South Africa. There's evidence that Donald Trump has been red-pilled into a far-right movement that is inspired by white dispossession in Africa. The American white supremacist neo-Nazi mass murderer who perpetrated the Charleston church shooting wore a jacket with a flag of apartheid-era South Africa. And back when he was at Fox, Tucker Carlson launched a relentless campaign to portray South Africa's once dominant white population as a victimized minority under attack. Folks like Tucker and Elon Musk have long been orbiting around Trump, but now they appear to have recruited him. Bottom line, it's clear who's influencing who. Trump is adopting Elon Musk's beliefs and handing him the powers of the presidency to implement them. In just the last hour, Secretary of State Marco Rubio tweeted that he will not attend the G20 summit in Johannesburg, sounding very Trumpy when adding that, quote, South Africa is doing very bad things, like expropriating private property. I recently spoke to Patrick Gaspard, a former U.S. ambassador to South Africa, and asked him about Trump's threat to take funding away from that country.
There's so much to say about that, Joy. Let me first say that with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, you're never quite sure if they're actually angry about a thing or if they're performing in anger because they have another agenda that they're trying to advance. It's really important to remember that with both of these two characters.
Yeah.
Elon Musk met very recently with the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, to talk about investments in the country. He's trying to get Starlink into South Africa, but he understands that any external business that comes into that country has to have 30% black South African ownership of it because of the black enterprise laws that were passed in South Africa to recompensate blacks for what they lost during apartheid.
Yeah.
He is against that law, and he's determined to kind of stir up a politics around what's unfair, what's being done to whites in South Africa, but never divorce his business interests and his bottom line from the performance of a kind of anger. As far as Donald Trump is concerned, he's not just parroting Elon Musk in this moment. He has had a long-held obsession with South Africa. He said similar things when he was in his first term.
Sure.
And even before being elected in 2016, he was tweeting about South Africa and this bizarre, discredited, fringe conspiracy notion that somehow white South African farmers are being targeted and their land is being appropriated from them illegally through extra military actions. It is not true in the least. There is no evidence of this, but he's been advancing this for some years now, and now you have the confluence of Elon Musk's interests and Donald Trump's interests coming together at a time when they're raiding our development agency, USAID, and pulling resources and trying to create rationalizations for the appropriation of these funds.
We are witnessing the rise of nationalism, protectionism, the pursuit of narrow interests, and the decline of common cause. This is the world that we, as South Africa, a developing economy, must now navigate. But we are not daunted to navigate our path through this world that constantly changes. We will not be deterred. We are, as South Africans, a resilient people, and we will not be bullied. We will stand together as a united nation, and we will speak with one voice in defense of our national interests.
You passed an Exploration Act, therefore Trump would withhold funding to South Africa. And they said, let's not immobilize Africa, let's withhold minerals to US. That is it. If they don't give us money, let's not give them minerals. But the reality, they take our minerals, but say, why we're throwing funding. No, we have minerals in the continent. And therefore, we have something that we have. We're not just beggars, but we must just use that endowment for our benefit as a continent. But if
terrible things are happening in South Africa, the leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. They're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.